Hello and welcome to sonicacademy.com. It gives me great pleasure to introduce all the way from Cologne in Germany, one of our favorite producers, Mr. Robert Babicz. How are you doing, Robert?
Oh,
Hey,
I'm fine.
good to have you on board.
Thank you.
How are things in Cologne at the moment?
We have 10 degree. It's warm,
Ah,
and
nice.
I'm working in the studio like always
Great
when
stuff.
I'm
Well,
not traveling.
you're a very hardworking man. Well, we're gonna talk through some of the various aspects to your career over the next few minutes on Sonic Academy here. But the first thing I wanted to ask you about was I got this awesome remix recently. Paul Rutherford, Get Real, the Robert Babicz dub and original mixes on Celador. Were you a Frankie Goes to Hollywood fan from back in
Oh,
the
yeah,
day?
big time.
Yeah. I believe you actually put in a request yourself to get the remix for this track.
Yeah, I saw the remixes, I think a few months before, and I just came a little bit too late for the initial remix thing. But I asked them, maybe they can give me some data.
Was it a real honor to be working with one of the sort of founding members of Frankie?
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah.
liked it.
The original, of course, was a Hacienda classic from Manchester back in the glory days of Acid House. You tended to stick very much in the same vibe. You just toughened up the drums and got some nice acid in there. Can you give us some insight into the production processes behind this remix?
It's in general, my philosophy for remixes is I try to use as much as possible from the original and just transform it in my way. But for me, it's really important to have. Yeah, I can say I'm really coming from this 80s vibe because the 12-inch mixes from Frankie Goes to Hollywood when they were like 10 minutes long,
Yeah.
they were all based on the original material, but like really colorful in all kinds of directions. And that's I still have this kind of spirit.
Was Trevor Horn a big influence? He, of course, produced Frankie
Yes,
Goes to
very,
Hollywood.
very much.
Yeah,
I really love his work.
because I would hear a lot of similarities in some of your drum programming, like on Dark Flower, for example. You've got those kind of 80s snares kind of vibe. Does some of that creep into your music occasionally?
That's a good question. I was not listening to the old music for a long, long time, but I can see similarities in a way.
Yeah, because I was actually listening to that track today, and it struck me as a very disco orientated bass line. And I was listening to it thinking, if you put a vocal over Dark Flower, that's potentially a mainstream pop hit, but a really cool pop hit. It's got a very song like structure. I know it's one of your older productions, but probably one of your more well known. Was
Yes,
there a
more.
particular vibe to that you started off with, if you can remember? I know it was quite some time ago.
Um, I I think my music taste is really broad, and I just do the music I want to listen for myself. And as I'm not a DJ, so I'm when I'm playing, when I'm traveling, I just have my own music. So I try to find, like, when I'm sometimes I'm listening to some music that is inspiring, and then I think, oh, maybe I need something like this in my sets. So I don't buy the music, I just make it myself. That's my way.
I know you like that with remixes as well. I mean, when you're presented with a remix, do you like to hear the original first, or do you prefer to just get stems and samples and kind
I,
of produce your own thing?
I decide from the people need to send me the original, and when I have the feeling it could be inspiring and I find elements that are interesting enough to work on, then I say okay. But quite a lot of times I say no, thank you, because I can't feel it or I don't have too much time because I'm quite busy since a few years now with all this, because I'm doing mastering as well for many artists.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a wee moment.
And my own music, and so yeah, but it's not easy to decide. I take a remix on or not. If I take it when I have the feeling, I hear elements I could add, and I can make it better in a way. When I have the feeling, I can make it better.
Absolutely. So we've seen if we follow you on Twitter, so we've had a few sneaky peeks in at your studio. What sort of equipment are you running in your studio there, Robert? Do you want to talk us through some of it? Too much to go through. What's at the heart of it all?
Okay, I just maybe for the people who are a little bit interested.
Oh yes, please.
I just show you a little bit around. So you see, this is like a console.
There's shrieks of excitement coming from next door, actually.
There's like a lot of strange gear as well.
Wow.
So you see.
All right.
And my tape machine as well.
Oh, Studer, lovely.
Yeah, and like instruments. And you see like big.
Is that all going to the recycling unit?
No, it's all going back to the studio use. It's just not used in the moment. I just go in the corner and take an instrument and work with it. That's how I work sometimes.
And right, so clearly there's a ton of stuff we could spend a week in there going through. If we concentrate on it inside the box, what's your workstation of choice at the moment?
I produce on Logic since version 2, I think.
Okay.
Was the first version that run on Power Mac.
Yeah. And what's your kind of first sort of steps when you begin a new project? Do you pick an instrument? Do you open a plugin? Have templates or?
The first thing when I open Logic is an empty screen. Like I always start with complete. Like it needs to be empty. And then. It depends. Sometimes I'm trying to be updated on the plugins that are coming out, and just a lot of music just started while I was testing a plugin or trying out a synthesizer or just making a sequence here, and from there, oh, maybe it's inspiring. Maybe I add some drums, something like this.
Do you have any particular sort of favorite plugins for the likes of your drums and your compression?
My drumming is mostly coming out of battery.
Okay.
As okay, my studio is really full of stuff, but I like it simple.
I want to get rid of it, but I want to keep it at the same time. Yeah.
It's the way I like things simple. So when I use drums, it's like battery, just do one kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then I know this is like the best thing for this moment, and then I can do, okay, what do I need on the long way to the end of the song. So I found out things like the Waves SSL channel is something I use on a daily basis as well.
Okay.
Just because I very love this low cut on this plugin. I just open it to make a low cut.
And I mean, you have a lot of outboard processing there. You've the likes of the Studer tape there as well. How do you think have plugins caught up with the sort of outboard gear in terms of processing capability? I mean, UAD and people like that are doing some amazing kind of products at the moment. Do you notice much difference?
I'm sure I could work just inside a laptop. I'm pretty sure, but it would take me so much more time to have the same sound I'm after then again, I really like it simple. And when I make a song, I need 1 or maximum 2 days. So here my setup is really fast. I know every type of gear I have in my studio, and I know exactly what it does to the sound.
Yeah.
And I know when I go too far or what, and this and this. And plugins just don't have this kind of reaction.
Okay.
They have a plugin is more like a snapshot of one moment of a gear.
I guess, yeah, because you can typically only use one plugin at a time, whereas you can be adjusting sort of multiple bits of hardware that are based all around you.
Working, and the workflow is different. But from the sound perspective, I'm sure you can go very far. I'm still not, as I'm really a big fan of my studio tape machine. Believe me, I test every fucking tape plug-in on this planet, because just the maintain of my tape machine, I mean, 20 minutes of tape is 50 euro.
Yeah.
So, and you can re-record maybe 5 times, and then you have to throw it away.
Bennett.
So of course I would like to have a plug-in that sounds like this. But I still don't find anyone, and I use all of them. I bought all of the tape plugins, really.
Okay, well, we'll move on from your plugins and just to chat a bit more about your music. I mean, to me, your music has always had very strong melodic ideas. I'd assume that most of your ideas start off with a melody, or would that be fair to say?
Yeah, it's I like for me the music has a direct connection to emotions. So of course I can start like a techno banging track with some drum elements, but then it's done very fast. But the melody is giving me more of a picture, and then from there I can tell my stories. I'm more of a I'm not a producer. I think you can compare. I'm more of a storyteller, because my tracks telling like stories, fairy tales, in a way. Like everything is a story.
What are your sort of go-to synths for the main melodic components in your tracks? Then do you have a couple of favorites?
Putting
you on the spot.
I'm using. I'm still okay. One of the things that why I still keep Logic is I very love the Logic synthesizer that are inside, like the Dark Flower sound.
Yeah.
This melody sound is the ES1.
Oh.
It's just one oscillator and noise. It's just very basic.
Yep.
But I like this kind of very direct way, and I would say almost 80% of my bass lines are made out of the init sound from the EX24.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, for the sub.
So the sine wave.
Yeah.
This is like my main go-to sound. In almost every song, I open this.
Yeah, wow.
And from there, from this sine wave, just by distorting it or overdriving it and filtering, I can make any waveform I want, and very fast. And I can do it blind. So I don't need to have this latest fancy synthesizers. I have, of course, but I always come back to my favorite.
Have you tried out some of the new synths on Logic Pro X?
And
we had a double.
I'm a little bit ashamed. I'm still using Logic 9. I installed Logic X, but I don't know. They changed so much that I feel helpless.
Yeah, you're starting again.
So I thought it's a good idea to have a look at your website about
Well, we'll hook you up with a
to get
membership.
some
Don't worry.
Yeah,
You might end up
I'm still
producing some
doing
trance.
everything online.
Okay. You've been known as well to dabble in sound design for some of the big manufacturers like Native Instruments in the past. Is sound design something that's particularly important to you? Or do you take time out from producing particularly to focus on sound design, or do you just, you know, kind of get stuck in depending on the mood?
Sound design is a big part of songwriting itself. It's the material you're working with. So it's very, very important. I have a strong I love details.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell.
My songs or my tracks, they sound simple, but there's so much automation going on and so much little details in the background. You don't hear it on the first time when you listen to one track, but there's so much things going on in the background, and sounds always are moving, and I try to make things natural in a way, but electronic music is not natural in any way, but I just try to find my own way.
When you're sort of trying to get that movement, do you like to use sort of outboard gear and record in your automation, or are you happy to sit there and plot everything as you go along?
No, I don't use too much outboard gear. I mean, yeah, sometimes I like to play stuff on my. I still love my SH-101 Roland synthesizer, or here my Korg MS-20, where you just do things on the fly. But what I'm telling about this automation thing is not just the cutoff that is going up and down. I'm really automating like room plugins, delays that are changing through time. The position of the sound is important. I have sometimes when I need to explain a little bit how I produce, I say, image. You have a theater stage. It's like an empty theater stage. So you have a foreground, something that is here happening. You have a background, left and right, up and down. And you have elements that are working together. It's like they are figures, like actors. So you have sounds who coming together, working together, or they don't have a relation to each other. And I do this kind of, it's a kind of 3D model in every song. So each sound is having a connection to each other, and there's no random things happening. Everything has a sense for me.
That's a great analogy. Thank you. If we can move on to your mastering, you've been well known in the industry for Rob Small mastering, but you've recently moved on. You've set up a new kind of mastering. It's not a facility. It's been run out of two different cities with one of the guys from Left Right Mastering in Belgium. Do you want to tell us why this collaboration has come about?
I was actually I needed help. Because because I'm so busy, I needed help for all this office work around this, to speak with clients, make the appointment, make like the invoice stuff, because I'm too much artist. I'm not a businessman at all. And Daniel is really helping me in all that way. And I'm teaching him since now for 1 year almost. Like he's coming regular here to my studio, and I'm just teaching him whatever I know. I don't have secrets. I'm telling everything I know. So I give him all my information, and he is helping me with all the structure around.
Okay.
And that's I think it starts to be a good team, because it's really helping me have more room for my stuff again.
Okay, that's great. It sounds like a good partnership. Can you tell us a little bit about the process from when somebody sends you a pre-master to you send it back to them? What you do, what do you look for at the start? Are there any sort of go-to plugins or chains that you have in your studio that you'll always run everything through?
First thing is I need to listen to the track on my system, and then I think I need maybe 5 seconds, and then I know if I send it back and say to you need to change this and this and this and this, and then you come back, because I have the philosophy, I don't want to repair songs, I want to make them more beautiful. So if I'm able to give some tips, change this and this and this, and the song will be much better after. I mean, I give like mix down tips. Maybe you change this, or here's too much bass, try to make a low cut here, and it will help us very, very much. Of course, if a song don't need any, if a song it's all okay, like from the technical point of view, I try to avoid speak about the musical side, because that's the decision from the artist. I just try to look at a song from the technical point of view. And then the first thing I always do, and maybe it's not right, but I make a low and high cut. It's because all this modern music has way too much low end and way too much high end. Mm-hmm. All these plugins, they go so far up, and it sounds horrible on a loud system.
Yeah, I noticed that actually. I was thinking about that when I was listening to a few of your older tracks today, that there's a certain, they sit within a certain frequency zone that just makes them stand out from other people's music, you know, like you say, things are being pushed too hard one way or another, you know. So it's interesting that you say that, because you actually noticed that this morning.
And I noticed something during the years I worked on music, that loudness has also something to do with psychoacoustics. And technically speaking, my tracks are not really loud. When you look on them on the meter, they are, let's say, medium. When you listen to them on a club sound system, they blow you away.
Yeah.
And that has something to do with the way how I use distortion.
Okay. So tell us about that.
I don't compress too much. I can show, if I show you how the settings here on my main compressors, I maximum maybe compress 1 dB.
Wow.
And then I think, oh, the needle is moving too much.
What compressors are you running your stuff through then? What are your favorites?
I have a wireless compressor. That's a Varimu tube design.
Okay.
And I have a SSL compressor as well. And I have but that is, something I have done. I have a friend who is building, making DIY stuff, and he made for me an Urai compressor long time ago.
Lovely.
And I think it was like 2002 when I was reading about this parallel compression long time ago, and there were no gear that had this as an option at that time. And I told my friend, I really like to make, because I liked how the Urai was distorting and really crashing the signal, but I wanted to add it just to the music, not let's go everything through it. So I asked him, please make me a wet and dry thing, like on a mixer.
Okay.
And he made this for me. And I use this kind of parallel compression now for long time now. And people, people start to like it in a way.
What are some of the best tips you can give producers who are sort of trying to prepare pre-masters in order to send out to a mastering house, whether it's yourself or somebody else? What are the things? What are the common problems that occur time and time again that you have to go back to people with?
It's quite important that the song is already sounding good. Don't think the mastering will make it perfect and you just give something to him and he will make it good. Try to make your sound already the way you want it, and then you send it to a mastering engineer. And okay, I have a picture for this image. You have a beautiful model, yeah, a woman. And if you go with a woman, with a beautiful woman, to a makeup artist, he can make his wonderful magic. But the woman needs to be beautiful before. And then I can make like really nice and very like magic. But I need to have this beautiful thing before. And like all this technical thing, don't put a limiter on it. It's stupid. Why? If you just want to make it loud, make it yourself. You don't need a mastering engineer. But okay, keep out the limiter. You can compress if you want, if it's part of your sound, of course. It's your decision, because I myself compress when I'm producing. Like I'm going into my stuff, but it's not really compressing. It's just touching the needle. But I like the way how it sounds. So if someone wants to do it, yeah, it's cool. And try to... It's okay to have not too much level. If you have not too much level, it's okay. And try to avoid too much high and too much low end, because I will cut it away anyway, and it's not helping the song at all.
You're also known, you know, one of the things you do is stem mastering and stem mixing. Young producers, up and coming producers, may often get the terms mastering and mixing kind of confused in some ways when they send something off. For you, stem mixing, can you tell us through what your definition of stem mixing is and what you do when somebody sends you stems to mix?
Stem mixing is like is like between the full mix down and the mastering. I mean, it's giving me the opportunity to go a little bit deeper in the signal chain. So if I think the drums need a certain compression that the other elements don't need, I can do it. If you just give me the stereo file, I can work on everything just by one. So if I change the drums, I will change the other sounds as well. So stem mastering is giving me the ability to change like different small elements and improve them if they need to be improved. But I try to avoid to go too deep in music. I try to give the artist, he has the freedom. It's his song, so he have to make it as good as possible.
Sure. Okay. Well, look, it's been a pleasure talking to you. What can we expect over the next coming months? I know you're always busy traveling, and we follow your blogs and your wonderful photographs from all around the world. Production wise, release wise, what's coming up over the next few months?
I'm doing quite a lot of music. You can listen. I don't know if you have if you had the chance to listen to my latest mix. I uploaded, I think, 1 week before.
We'll check it out on your SoundCloud for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my SoundCloud, and the full mix is full with unreleased tracks that will come out in the next few months. I just have done something again for Bedrock, because John Digweed asked me to give him some new material, and I will do, I think, 2 releases. Then there will be something for Systematic as well. Celador asked me after the remix to make a full EP as well. So I will do something for them as well. And I plan to restart my Babicz style label as well.
Oh, great. So going back to the acid style.
Maybe I just go with the flow.
Take every day as it comes. Well, look, like I said, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We will definitely go and check out your SoundCloud for some of your latest mixes, and I hope you have a great 2014. Robert Babicz, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.